All right, so we're here with Preston Dennett. He is a winner for Writers of the Future Volume 35. Congratulations, Preston, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so excited.
Well, we're excited too. All right, so tell me, when did you start writing?
Early on, boy, I think in 6th grade I won first place for a poetry contest. That's when I knew I liked this, and really started writing. I started reading science fiction about age 14. My mom bought me a book, Clifford Simak's Macedonia. So I not only read that book, of course, but bought all of his books.
Wow.
And started buying all the other people, Heinlein and, of course, everybody after that.
Yeah.
And started writing maybe a year or two after that. Little chicken scratches type stories, but just couldn't stop doing it. Yeah, started submitting around 19. I was 19 years old, and that's when I first saw the Writers of the Future book. So yeah, I saw the first one right there in the bookstore.
Wow, and were you writing at that time when you?
I was.
Did you submit after seeing that, Volume 1?
No, I was too nervous.
Okay.
I submitted about a year later. Maybe I submitted to the Writers of the Future initially in 1986. That was my first time, and started submitting pretty regularly all the way up to 1992. And I gave up, actually. I submitted 12 times and I got 12 rejections. No honorable mentions. I was pretty discouraged. And was, of course, submitting to other magazines and stuff. Always first to the Writers of the Future, because I knew. I went to a convention, I saw someone who got an honorable mention. I was so jealous. I'm like, man. I kind of felt like I could win this contest. And it didn't happen, so I gave up. And was devastated for years and years.
Now, there's a story there, and I've heard bits and pieces of this story. They call you Topanga Canyon. Why do they call you that?
Well, gosh, there is a story there, and it shocked me because I didn't even know it. And I grew up in Topanga Canyon. This is where I lived when I was sending out stories in the 90s, and 80s and 90s, and gave up. Didn't realize that editors were actually paying attention to me and talking about me, even book editors. And everyone was wondering who was going to publish my next story. I didn't know any of that. I gave up, and I found out years later. I started submitting again. I remembered the contest. This is like 17 years later after I quit, right?
Wow.
And I just thought, I still want to be a science fiction writer. And remembered the contest and looked it up. And I'm like, wow, it's still there. Bought all the books, read them all, the ones I still had. I had thrown away all the books I bought. Kept the Writers of the Future, by the way. And those were the only books I kept.
Wow.
Cried as I boxed them up because I had a love affair with science fiction, and it was over. And it was devastating.
Wow.
And so 17 years later, started entering again, and started earning honorable mentions. Started publishing some stories, token and semi-pro, and submitting to the contest furiously. Got my first honorable mention, and then another.
And what about that? When you got your first honorable mention?
I jumped up and hit the ceiling. Could not believe it. It came in. I found out when I got the certificate, because this was before the internet was super strong, and couldn't believe it. I was so excited, and I thought, I'm going to enter every quarter.
Yeah.
Is what I'm going to do. And I started entering furiously in, it was 2009, and entered every quarter since then. Got 4 rejections right off the bat, and got my honorable mention, and couldn't get past that barrier. I just couldn't get past the honorable mention barrier. I couldn't get a semifinalist. Couldn't get a silver honorable mention. Of course, no finalists for me. What was I doing wrong? I was getting discouraged again.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going through the Writers of the Future forum, which is great. I learned everything there about how to write and be inspired, certainly, because I came on this thread that said, don't give up. And everyone's talking about, I would never give up. And one guy writes, don't worry, I'm never going to give up. I've heard the story of Topanga Canyon. Got a cold chill, because, Topanga Canyon, that's got to be me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's this Topanga Canyon story? And I said, it's about this guy. It's a cautionary tale taught by Dean Wesley Smith, who's actually one of the judges and was published in the first book. I knew who he was.
Yeah.
It's a cautionary tale about a writer who gave up, and who was at the end of the road and disappeared off the face of the earth. I'm like, oh my God, that was me. I knew it was me. I was so excited. but also devastated. It was a really weird feeling
Mm-hmm.
because I had a secret identity that I didn't even know about.
Wow.
Is what it was like. I'm like, oh my God, I have to call him. I have to contact him, and I did. And he's like, oh my gosh, yes, that is you. And I hope
Wow.
that's okay. I'm like, of course it's okay. I mean, this is amazing, and that gave me the inspiration I think that I
yeah.
needed to never give up.
Wow.
Really, and got that call. I was a finalist, but didn't sleep for 2 weeks, and got the call that I was a winner. Screamed while I was at work.
Oh, wow.
My boss comes running in. He's like, "What's wrong?" Like, nothing. I just won this contest. I'm gonna need a week off next year. That's what's wrong. And so yeah, it was the greatest thing ever. I called Dean Wesley Smith up. I actually sent him an email.
Yeah.
And I says, got an end for your cautionary tale here, a happy ending. And really knocked his socks flat off. Second place. Could not be happier.
Good for you. What a story.
Oh,
So have you actually met Dean in person?
no, I haven't. So
He's
excited.
going to be here.
Yeah, he's
You're
got
gonna
a story
be here.
in the volume too. So,
You're going to be published in a book with Dean. Are you excited?
are you kidding? I am beyond excited. These books were, more than just books for me.
Mm-hmm.
They really I grew up with them in a way. And I've got all the volumes. I always pull them out. They're in a featured place in my house. And they're just great,
What a story. I hope I get to be around when you meet Dean.
Yeah.
That's great. So, you answered how you heard about Writers of the Future. So tell me now a bit about your story that you won the contest with, Certain Slant of Light.
Yeah, it's really short. I was surprised that this one did as well as it did. 'Cause some of the others I've entered were much longer.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I had a good idea. I knew it. I would describe it as a post-apocalyptic romance with time bubbles. Is kind of the short sentence version.
Yeah.
But it's about a guy named Walter, an older man who's in a world that's kind of worn out. It's not a nice world anymore. There's been a lot of wars, a lot of pollution, a lot of global warming, sort of a near future aspect of what we're going through now if we don't change things.
Yeah.
And there's a nuclear holocaust, and it causes the time bubbles to appear, which are like little areas around the earth where time is frozen. And his wife is caught in one of these time bubbles. So that's kind of what it's about.
Very intriguing. Okay, good. And what inspired your story?
I think I always wanted to write, a time travel type thing, a twist with time. I think that's something all science fiction writers want to do. That was partly it. I really wanted to win this contest, so I was looking for ideas that were fresh and new,
Yeah.
which I think is really featured in these books.
Mm-hmm.
And the state of the world today. I have a tendency to write, sort of these romance stories about love between a man and a woman. That turns up a lot in my stories. So that worked really well with this particular idea I had, which I knew was a good one.
Yeah.
If I could just get the right characters and setting and work it all out. And finally got the skills at this point to do it, I think. And yeah,
Well, you
turned
did
out
it,
it worked
and you're
out.
here.
Exactly. So,
Good
woo.
job. Okay, so tell me about the Writers of the Future book, and what would a reader expect to find in the book, and why would you recommend it?
I love the books, obviously. I love them because they're so quirky and unique. Every story in there is different. It's got fresh voices, stuff I read the magazines, and they're all very thematic. Analog likes their hard sci-fi, and so on. You never know what you're going to get in these books, and they're always good. They're, there's never a dud in the bunch. Every now and then, maybe you don't resonate with the story. I go back to it, I'm like, gosh, I don't know why I didn't resonate with it. I like it now.
Wow.
So there's something really, I don't know, and they work on so many levels. There's the essays from the writers. Love those. Love the bios about the authors who won and how they got there. So that's really inspiring. And every now and then they put a professional writer's story in there.
Yeah.
Also, I love every kind of aspect of them. And the content is anonymous, so that is really cool.
Yeah.
The stories aren't being judged on just because you're a big name.
Right. Fantastic. So this year we have a discussion guide for reading groups and a high school unit plan. Why would you recommend Writers of the Future to these audiences?
I think kids would love it. I think it would turn kids on to reading because a lot of these stories are short, they're quirky, they're different, they're fresh, they're edgy, they're current, and it's perfect to sort of bring people and show them a world that they're not aware of.
Yeah.
Reading is nowhere near, like when I was a kid, everyone was really excited about it. Now everyone's on their cell phone. I'm like, this is a book, guys. I'm still like the old-fashioned book.
Yeah.
I've got to get me a Kindle e-reader because that's more popular right now. But I think kids would love these stories, and it would show them a whole new world of science. The whole science fiction universe is amazing. It's so profound and full of wonder and ideas, and man, I hope they don't miss out on it, really.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so what plans do you have for your future career?
I would love, love, love to make a living as a writer. I do write in other genres. I write in nonfiction, and if I can be successful in science fiction as well, I'm like, well, there I am. I could do this. And winning this contest, like, wow, okay, maybe I actually really can. I would love to start writing novels, and I think I could, and short stories still.
Yeah.
But definitely want to start writing novels. That's my next kind of big step.
Well, you're on that path.
Looks like it.
Good. And so if people wanted to find you online, do you have a website or
Yeah, I do.
media or?
I do. If you Google my name, it'll take you there. It's prestondennett.weebly.com. Got some of the books I've published, nonfiction books, and 37 stories I've published, mostly in semi-pro and token. A couple of pro level, and of course, Where's the Future is my latest huge success story.
Wonderful.
And so yeah, I'm super excited. I can't even tell you. This is a lifelong dream, really. The little teenager inside me, like hopping up and down, can't stop.
That's great. Well, we're so happy for you, and again, congratulations on your win, and I hope you have a fantastic week. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.